Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Library Support Staff Certification webinar brought to you today by the Wyoming State Library and the Paraprofessional section of the Wyoming Library Association. Today you're going to hear from a couple different people. First of all, you'll hear from Karen Strage, who is one of the coordinators for the ALA program. And then near the end of the webinar, Trish Pollack, who is the chair of the Parapro section, will probably have a few words to share. We'd be more than happy to take questions at the end of the webinar, and as always, you can email Trish or me, Jamie Marcus, at the State Library, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have about this program. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Karen.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much for setting up this webinar and sponsoring it through the great state of Wyoming. As Jamie said, we'll have time for questions after my formal presentation. I'd also like to thank Trish for joining us today. Trish might be the incoming president of LSERT, which is the ALA Library, now let me get this right, Trish, Library Support Staff Interest Roundtable?
Correct.
Oh, yay, 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 yay. This morning I'm going to take you through some slides, talk a little bit about history and the background of the LSSC program, talk to you about how to get involved, how to enroll, and then how the program actually works. As Jamie said, he and Trish would be happy to answer any questions about the program, but I want to leave you today with the thought that I am also very happy to answer any questions. At the end of the webinar, I hope you understand the value of LSSC, know about the requirements of the program, and really, very importantly, how to get help. The need for this program goes back many, many years. Library support staff have always been an important part of the American Library Association. And in a survey conducted by LSERT, which again is a roundtable in ALA, of library support staff in 2004, 80% of the respondents supported national certification, 76% supported national standards for library support staff, and even more importantly, in my opinion, 66% of those believe certification would improve public service. Based on the results of this survey, ALA and Keith Michael Fields, who is the director of ALA, wrote into the long-range plan of ALA to establish a certification program for library support staff by 2010. We found also that library support staff are interested in the program in being certified for the following reasons. About 700 library support staff replied to a survey that we did in November of 2008, and we asked the respondents why they wanted certification. The number one reason cited by respondents was that they wanted to be recognized for their experience, their education, and/or skills. The second reason cited was to learn new things about the library field. The third reason was to provide better service to users. And the fourth reason was to contribute to library improvement. Now, the respondents were equally divided between library support staff who work in public libraries and library support staff who work in academic libraries. It is interesting to me that we see on this, we don't see on this list, I want better pay, or I want to. It is the reasons of recognition, learning, and providing better service that are the main reasons why library support staff want to be certified. We found that the benefits of certification, some preliminary research in Maryland and in Minnesota. Those states have statewide certification for library support staff. And we asked managers of library support staff and support staff themselves in these states what they thought the benefits of certification were. And they said that users are better served by staff with certification. Library support staff themselves said, I better understand library service. I understand where my job fits into the larger context of providing library services. Library support staff themselves said, I feel more confident in my job and in serving my community. And library managers said that they see when library support staff receive the certification that they contribute more to the library operations and the success of their library. I want to emphasize that this is only preliminary research. It was done by primarily public libraries and not academic libraries, and that we would like to do much more research about the benefits of library support staff certification at some other time. The project history, as I said, ALA made it goal in their strategic plan to establish a library support staff certification program. And ALA wrote in 2007 a IMLS Laura Bush 21st Century Library Grant to fund a 3-year establishment program. They received the grant, after which an advisory committee was appointed, and they hired Nancy Bolt and myself as co-directors of this project. To make a very long story short, we developed the program, all the policies, the procedures, the competencies you'll see in a few minutes. And the ALA Executive Board approved the program last July. And candidates started being accepted only this year, January 25th. So that's the project history. I'm happy to say that we have almost 100 candidates already registered and into the program, which is, I think, more than we thought. We had hoped for 100 the first year, so we are ahead of our projections, and we hope that candidates continue to enroll, of course, throughout the project, but in these first few months too. Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts of the program. A candidate to be eligible to participate in the certification needs to have a high school equivalent or a GED, a high school diploma, of course. Also, if a candidate is from a country other than the United States, we look at those credentials separately, and if the credentials equal a high school diploma, then they are eligible to participate. A candidate must have 1 year of library experience, paid or unpaid, and that library experience could be in any type of library, public, academic, special, school, what am I forgetting, medical, any type of library. And again, it could be a volunteer work or paid work. That experience must be within the 5 years prior to the application. We want to make sure that candidates understand a modern library operation, have some background in libraries. The cost to participate is $350. If you're an ALA member, the cost is reduced by $25. The cost, we understand, is an issue for many library support staff, but the program must be self-sustaining. That means that the revenue must equal expenditures, and so the cost has to be $350. And we're finding that some employers are paying sometimes full registration fee and sometimes partial registration fee. The enrollment information is available at this website, and there's a complete application available there. After you fill out the application, in a week or so, you will receive a username and password in order to access the live text system. And the live text system is the name of the software that we use to manage your individual applications, to collect all that information about you that you provide. You have a secure file cabinet on live text to work on your portfolios, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, or to work on courses, to submit resumes. It is yours to use for 4 years into the program, and then thereafter, after you receive your certification. The live text program, your file cabinet cannot be accessed by anybody else unless you invite them into your program. So it's a private area for you to use. And as I said before, we're very close to having 100 candidates registered for the program. The program requirements: to receive your certification, you must achieve 6 competency sets. 3 are required of all candidates, no matter if you work in an academic library or a public library.
Okay, right.
And then you get to select 3 elective sets from 7 other competency sets. From the date of your enrollment into the program, you have 4 years to complete. And if, of course, you run into some kind of issues, such as unexpected health issues or family issues, we will be happy to work with you to make that extension and for you to complete your candidacy. You can demonstrate your competency in these competency sets by completing approved courses and or submitting portfolios. And again, we'll talk about those more in detail. These are the competency sets. The required sets are foundations of library services, and teamwork, and technology. We think that every library support staff should demonstrate competencies in those areas, okay, no matter where you work. The electives are access services, which includes circulation, procedures and policy, interlibrary loan, those kind of functions, cataloging, classification, collection management, readers advisory services, reference and information services, supervision and management, and youth services. So that's 7 elective competency sets, and again, candidates need to select 3 of those to complete to receive the certificate. You may finish any of these competency sets that you choose in any order. You do not have to complete the required sets before you complete your electives. It is up to you in which order you wish to complete competency. This is an example of some of the competencies in one competency set. And all of these competencies are available on the website for your overview for you to look at. This is the Foundations of Library Services, and again, this is a required set. All competency sets are divided into 2 sections. Library support staff will know is one section. The second section is library support staff will be able to do. These are examples on the screen now of what you will know when you demonstrate or finish a competency set. We'll know the mission and roles of a library, the ethics and value of the profession, including an understanding of the Library Bill of Rights and so forth, and the role of library support staff and other staff in libraries. Very, very general types of statements. You will be able to prove that you practice quality library service and what is the value of quality library service in libraries. You will be able to demonstrate how you could communicate and promote the library's values and services to these different groups. And 3, that you'll be able to recognize and respond to diversity and user needs and preferences for resources and services. So if you take a course in the Foundations of Library Services, Your coursework will cover each of these competencies. Okay? And if you choose to submit a portfolio in the Foundations of Library Services competency set, you will be required to demonstrate in that portfolio that you understand and are able to perform all of these competencies. Now, again, the assessment methods for the certification program are through two different methods. The first one is approved courses. Now, how do you choose which assessment method to use? Well, let's take cataloging, for example. Cataloging and classification competency sets. If you have no experience or no education in cataloging and classification, I would suggest that you may want to think about taking an approved course. If you have no interest in reading up on cataloging, in maybe taking something online, a self-directed course that's not approved, if you don't want to do an internship, maybe with a cataloger in the library you work or another library in your community, then you should look at taking an approved course in cataloging and classification. But let's look at portfolios. If you are experienced in working in the cataloging department or have taken education, courses, workshops, been to presentations, if you could actually maybe teach one of these classes, if you're an expert copy cataloger and know a lot about that area, and you like learning on your own, then I would suggest that you are a great candidate for submitting a portfolio in the cataloging and classification competency. So what you have to do when you register for the program, or before you register, of course, is look at each competency set and really assess your own background, education, and experience in each to see if you might be well served to take an approved course, or if you think you could demonstrate that you have that knowledge and those skills by submitting a portfolio. Now, approved courses, not every course that you see out there is a library support staff certification approved course. The program looks at approved courses after providers submit an application, and those courses must meet the library support staff certification program requirements. Those courses must teach all the competencies in the competency set. They must meet other requirements, such as an instructor must be qualified to teach that course. It is important for you to realize that these courses cost, and that those providers set the cost, and our program does not. We have 11 courses approved now, and more are added each month. I have 11, I'm the person in charge of shepherding these courses through our approval process, and we have 10 or 11, I think it's 11 as of today, that are waiting approval. So we'll almost, in the next month or so, double the amount of approved classes that are available for you to choose from. I'll show you the ones that are available now, and just to give you an idea of the cost and the type of courses that we have approved so far. We have 2 available in libraries, Foundations of Library Services, one from the Lincoln Trail Library Systems, that's in Illinois, and one from the Fresno Pacific University, which is in California. Now, the Lincoln Trails Library System course, I believe, is a hybrid course. That is, there's some required face-to-face meetings and some course material given online. And of course, if you did not live in Illinois, then that probably would be a class you would not be interested in taking. The Fresno class is all online, and it costs $444. Again, the cataloging and classification has 2 courses available. One through the Palomar College in California, and that is a face-to-face course. It costs $133 and for some reason 25 cents. And again, if you did not live in that area, you probably would not be interested in going to California and taking that course. But there's an online course available from the University of Wisconsin that began on February 8th, but they will be offering this again, and that costs $415. Collection Management has one from a division of ALA called Association for Library Collection and Technical Services. Again, this is costs $837. You can see that, and this is the second page of this, you can see that the course providers come from a variety of different institutions, ALA division, a community college, and a continuing education four-year institute, a regional library in Illinois, and then we see under supervision and management, a state library, this time in Louisiana, is a provider of a course. What's interesting to me, again, is under technology, when you see Perez Library Technology Consulting, this is an individual library consultant who has decided to offer a class for LSSC candidates, and her class is all online and approved for $300. So you see that most classes are in the range of anywhere from $250 to around $400 of classes course costs. And again, we'll be putting up as they are approved more and more classes. Now, if you decide to do a portfolio, this is some information for you. Portfolios, what is a portfolio? It's a selective collection of your work that demonstrate your efforts, progress, and achievements in a competency set. One of the ways that I like to talk about portfolios is a scrapbook. It is taking the best of what you have, putting it in some type of order, and sharing it with other people to illustrate. In a scrapbook, you illustrate an event. But in a portfolio, a learning portfolio, you illustrate your knowledge and your skills. It is equivalent to the coursework. You will have to show that you have achieved all the competencies in a competency set. There's a lot of writing in portfolios, and we require that you show that your writing is high school level or even better writing skills. And you document what you know in a portfolio. Now, in the case of the library support staff who has worked in the cataloging department for, let's say, 10 years, it is not enough in a portfolio to just include a resume or a work history that you have worked in an area for 10 years. You actually have to show us what you know. The portfolio evaluation process is fairly simple. When you are done, you submit your portfolio online using the live text. And before you say that evaluators can look at it, again, it is private. Only you can look at it. But when you're ready, you press a button, and the portfolio goes to 2 evaluators. And the evaluators are librarians who are qualified to evaluate portfolios in that area. Again, using our cataloging example, those librarians will have experience in the cataloging area, either have worked in that area for many years or have taught in that for a few years too. And so 2 evaluators read it, and they will come to agreement that you have met the criteria. Hooray! You need not to do anything else in that competency area. You have passed. so to speak, that area. They may agree that you have partially met the competencies in that portfolio set through your portfolio, and they'll come back to you and ask for more information. The third option is for them to say that you have not met the competencies in that area, and that they will say, well, it looks like you don't have the education or the experience to submit a portfolio, and they may suggest that you take a course. So there are three different outcomes of evaluation of a portfolio. Now, portfolio basics. Again, you will use online certified certification achievement record, which we abbreviate to CAR in the live text. All of your material will go into your CAR. You must cover all the competencies in a portfolio. You design your own demonstrations and will upload your own documents. And you can, if you want to, use portfolio development suggestions, which we again abbreviate to PDSs. Now, we have written these suggestions for each competency in each competency set. And we mean these to be guides for you to use or not use in developing your portfolio. For example, well, I'll show you an example in a few minutes. But I think a portfolio process can be summarized in these steps. Collecting all the information that you have about your skills and knowledge in the area. Selecting, okay? We do not ask you to provide all your documents about a particular competency. We want you to select your best to provide to us. We also require that you reflect, that you provide a reflective statement on that competency set and how your documents relate to your work and your abilities. We also suggest that you share your portfolio before you share it with us, with a valued colleague, with somebody that you work with, either a librarian or another library support staff. It could be in your library or somebody outside. It could be somebody at the state library if they're willing to do so, to really review that and to talk over the strengths and maybe the weaknesses of your portfolio. And then sharing, you will share it with your evaluator. And then hopefully we'll celebrate with you the acceptance of your portfolio. Those are the 5 steps that we see. And within those steps, of course, there are a lot of little steps. This is an example of a portfolio development suggestion. And as I said before, we have these for each competency in each competency set. You may choose to use these as a guide. You may choose to use some of these as, a guide in some competency sets and go with your own ideas in some competencies. It's really up to you. But these are activities. Now, if you completed one of these activities and included enough information, the evaluators will agree that you have achieved that competency in that competency set. So, okay, the competency number 4 is the responsibilities of and relationships among library departments or functional areas. So, in your portfolio, how would you prove or demonstrate that you have achieved this competency? Well, one way would be to interview the manager in a library that has many departments to find out how these departments interact to produce, distribute, and help library users use information. And to demonstrate this, you could draw an organization chart of the library and discuss any changes that you would make in this organization. So not only would you talk about your interview with that librarian, but you would draw an organizational chart, reflect on that organizational chart, and demonstrate that you understand that by suggesting any changes in it that you think make sense. The second activity under this particular competency is really a case study or a scenario. A teenager asks for help, comes into the library, of course, and asks for help with a homework assignment on the civil rights movement and the election of Barack Obama as president. Now, you would describe in your portfolio how every department in the library contributes to helping that teenager find this information. And then you would go on to describe the impact on the student and library staff if any of the library departments do not do their work. So here you would demonstrate that you understand the interrelationship between those library departments in meeting those user needs for a specific example of this teenager. Now, if you were to read these and think, oh, I have the perfect example to demonstrate that I know this, this competency, of course we encourage you to do that and not be bound by any of the examples that we provide you here. An interesting thing to consider also is not writing an essay about this, but actually providing an edited interview, if you would to do the activities in 4.1, providing the edited activity, the interview, or a script of your interview. You might even provide a video of you interviewing this librarian. You might even want to provide if you did a little mock play about a teenager asking this and how you would go about answering that question if every library department worked in tandem the way they should, and then a video if the library departments did not work in tandem and provided not so good service to that customer. So what I want you to think about is not just using written word to communicate the portfolios, but using a combination of audio or video or any method that you want to use for us to understand that you really do know those competencies and that you illustrated in those ways. So portfolios, again, are done by candidates generally who have a lot of experience in the area, don't mind working independently, like to have self-directed learning, or that have a lot of education in the area. We know that a lot of library support staff coming into the certification do have a lot of experience, do not want to take an approved class, and we set this up so that those candidates could prove to the program that they have those competencies and in this portfolio manner. So we're very excited about this. This is very new to certification programs, and we want to make it work for you and for the program itself. And I'll finish now by sharing with you a quote from Linda Piero, who is a library support staff in New York State, who has since retired, but has shared this quote with us that we use in a lot of our presentations to, I guess, bring home why this program is so important. National certification is going to make a bigger difference than many folks realize. This portable standard of excellence will obviously benefit library support staff. We are valuable assets to well-functioning libraries. In my mind, library support staff are more than valuable assets. They're essential assets to our libraries in the United States. It is our hope that by establishing and maintaining and growing this certification program, that this essential value is well known to everyone in the library community and into our library communities themselves, our users. I'll ask now, we'll have time for questions, but before that I would like to ask Trish to say some words about the program.
Well, Karen, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the work you've done on this. I'm really excited about this, and I know this has been a very hot topic in Wyoming for many, many years, way back when there was first talk about even trying to start a support staff section for WLA, this was one of the primary interests in starting that, and it's something that support staff has been asking for a long time, so I'm excited to see it finally come to fruition and the number of attendees that have gotten on board. I think it's important that people know that ALA is really, really behind this. I know there have been some comments about, well, in the tough economic times, what happens if things change? And I know ALA is committed to seeing this program go. So I hope lots of people will take advantage of it. As far as I know, no one in Wyoming has gotten on board yet. I fully intend to. There were a lot of people at WLA last fall in Laramie that expressed interest in it. So I'm hoping after today's webinar we'll see some people sign up. Jamie, do you have anything you want to add?
I do, and I'm putting on my President of the Wyoming Library Association hat for the moment, and I just want to say that as we look forward to changes in the Library Association and moving to interest groups, I fully see a library support staff certification program interest group of those folks in Wyoming who are actually working on certification so that we can get together and help each other work on portfolios or go to classes together or just support each other as everybody works on their certification together. Now, from the state library perspective, I want to remind everybody that you've probably already participated in many things that you could use for your portfolio. For example, if you did the Get on the Bus reference workshops last month, those would be prime examples to include in the reference certification competency set in your portfolio. If you participated in the Get on the Bus, the social networking program last year, that would also might work for parts of your technology portfolio or other various portions in there. And again, if you are able to and can participate in WLA, the annual conference or the spring section meetings, there's been lots of training in the past years that may help support you in your portfolio. There are lots of options out there, and I encourage everybody to look beyond what you may have taken for credit or look beyond those things that you actually signed up for and think of the little webinars and other things that you participated in that could help you in your portfolio. So that being said, does anybody have any questions for Karen or Trish?
Or Jamie.
Or Jamie?
I do. This is Barbara and Lander. Is there any limit on the number? We got on kind of late, so I may have missed this. Number of portfolios versus number of classes. Could a person such as Trish totally portfolio out of have it all in portfolio form?
That's a wonderful question. Thank you very much. Yes, you can complete the certification program by providing all portfolios, by completing all improved classes, or you could do a combination, which I think is very powerful for most people because some people may have the education and the experience to do portfolios for, let's say, 5 competency sets, but may need to take a course in one. A combination approach is fine, or completing them all by one method is also fine. I should also say there is no time. Candidates could register at any time. Sometimes I get questions that say, oh, have I missed the enrollment period? No, you haven't. Enrollment will last, well, I can't say forever, but as long as the program lasts, which we hope is forever.
This is Gloria in Riverton. My question is, oh my goodness, it just left me. Wait a minute. That's okay. Oh my gosh, it's gone. Keep talking, it'll come back to me. Okay. How embarrassing.
I just
want to have stage fright.
Phone fright.
Phone fright.
I want to comment on something that Jamie said. I think the idea of having mentors in the state is a great idea. We're trying to solicit mentors for candidates through the program. Of course, that probably will never be face-to-face because it is a national program. But if candidates don't mind being paired with someone from another state, that is something that we're exploring. Because we really do think that, especially the portfolio work, can be kind of isolating if you're just working in front of a computer. You need some feedback, you need some encouragement. We really hope to offer that through the program. And I'm really happy to hear that state libraries or state library associations might might offer that too. I think that's wonderful. I'd also like to say that our program, we really strive to have it be user-friendly. We want candidates to enroll, and more importantly, we want them to succeed. So we try to be very responsive to the candidates' concerns, and not only if you have any questions about the program, if you have any comments, like, I think you should do it this way, maybe this could be done better, you should improve this way, I'm confused about this, please just don't let us know if you have questions. Please let us know if you have any suggestions, okay? Because this is brand new. We started in January after 2.5 years of development. Things are not perfect. Well, when are things ever perfect, right? But we want to improve. Every day we want to improve the program. So let us know about improvements too. Now, Gloria, have you thought about your questions?
Yes, and actually Terry was sitting looking at me, and I could feel myself blushing. I think she saw my red face. It just was so gone. So on the portfolio section, when you say complete all the competencies, and Terry kind of answered it for me, I think. It's
okay.
6 competencies, right? There's 3 that you must do, and then 3 more of the election. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And within each competency set, there's a number of individual competencies. And the number of individual competencies differ from set to set.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And that's all on the website to kind of see
It is all on the website.
Okay.
And again, if you get confused, I have on the screen now the website, and then Nancy is, like Jamie said, the other director of the program, and our contact information there. Just don't hesitate to email any of us or call.
This is Donna in Lander, and I have a question. I didn't get on until about page 9 of the webinar. Is there a way to go back and view pages 1 through 8?
Yes, there are, Donna. I will have the archive version of this webinar up, hopefully this afternoon, should be by about 2. And you can get to that by going to the State Library's webpage. And on the lower right, somewhere in the lower right, there's a link that says Webinar Archive, and you can watch the first 9 minutes.
Great, thanks.
Or share it with your friends, take it home, watch it at night.
Thank you.
TV.
Do we have some more questions?
This is Barbara in Lander again. Obviously, because of the in-state tuition issues, I'm interested in whether there's going to be a Western state share kind of things. Would it be like we could be in-state if a class was offered in northern Colorado? Is there anything like that in the works for this?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. We could work with state libraries. If we had a video, you could see me thinking now. No, good. Something good to think of. I will tell you that I'm working with Amigos, which I know Wyoming is probably not a member of. You're a member of BCR, but Amigos is a organization like BCR for the southwest part of the nation, and they are going to offer classes. BCR has gotten out of the business of offering classes because of their partnership with Lyrasis, and so we're working with Lyrasis too to develop courses for this, and those would be offered, on a regional basis with membership costs. Something to think about, Barbara. Thanks for that comment.
And just as Jamie, from the State Library and WLA perspective, let me just add that if there is enough interest in Wyoming participants in getting a approved course for a certain competency set, that is something that the state library would be more than happy to work for and maybe bring people into a special session, or even the WLA will help co-sponsor. So if everybody in Wyoming wants to take an approved Fundamentals of Library Services course, then we might be able to make it happen.
Yeah, and we would work with you, Jamie, or whoever in your state to make that happen. Again, with the course approval, we try to do a lot of hands-on work. We just don't. We expect people to come in, and we want classes to be approved, so we work closely with the provider to make that happen.
Are there any other questions for Karen? Oh, go ahead, Trish.
This is Trish. I'm just curious, Karen, when you pay your initial fee of the $350 or $325, what if you want to take additional electives? Can you take as many of the electives as you want during that 4 years, or is it the 3 required and then just 3 electives?
You could take as many as you want.
Okay. And I was just thinking, like, if you wanted to move into a different position or something, you know, it might look good on your resume if you've completed that, but that you did more than what was required.
Right. And I'll tell you, this is why I love working with this program so much, because I've had this question now 3 times in presentations. People want to take more, are thinking about taking more than is required. And I think that's just so indicative of library support staff saying, yeah, let me do it, and I want to do more than is required. I think that's lovely, and yes, that is certainly allowable. I need to say that, and I forgot to say that there is a renewal period after 4 years. The renewal period, I forgot to make a slide of that. There is continuing education required. I believe that we have decided on 28 hours of, and that's contact hours, over a 4-year period. And that does not have to be approved courses. So you could take let's, for example, go to the Wyoming Library Association and take a pre-conference in technology and have that count for your renewal. And more details about that will be forthcoming too. But there is a renewal requirement. The cost for renewal will not be $350. It'll probably be more around $125 or $150. We haven't really decided on that yet, but we know it can't be as much as that initial $350.
Okay, well, Karen, I'd like to thank you for showing up today, and Trish for participating in this webinar and letting us record your wonderful presentation so that everybody in Wyoming can participate.
Okay.
Anybody who is out there and you think of a burning question later, or you're watching the archive and you think of something that wasn't mentioned, feel free to contact Karen Strege or Nancy Bolt or Trish Pollack or Jamie Marcus here at the State Library, and we can sort you out or connect you with somebody who can. So thank you all for participating, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
And
Thank you.
Everything. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.